Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bakes here, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Ranked. It's been a hot minute since we last did an episode in this series, but super excited to get around to this one. Today, I'll be ranking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise from my least favorite film to my favorite. So, there's 9 movies to go through here because there's a spin off, rebooted sequels, of course, the original franchise. So, 9 films total. I think soon we're meant to be getting another one, so I don't know how far down the road it will be till this list is outdated, but super excited to get into this one. It would have been a franchise I would have done sooner in this series if it hadn't taken me so long to find a copy of the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but I have since, so super excited to get into this one. I will get to the list just as usual. I'll quickly do my thoughts of the franchise as a whole. I do think it's one of those franchises where, there are some standout films, but unfortunately, it is a pretty inconsistent franchise, especially when it comes to like the main horror franchises or slasher franchises, if you want to be more specific. I just feel like there's too much inconsistency in this franchise, and honestly, it's not one that I return to very often, besides like maybe a couple of films, like 2 or 3 of them I'll watch pretty regularly, but otherwise it's not one that I have this great attachment to, if I'm being honest. Also, this ranking is going to be probably one of the most unprepared rankings I've done on my channel. Normally, before I do a ranking series, I'll rewatch some of the films that I haven't seen in a while or whatever, but just because of my schedule and things going on and kind of not really in the mood to revisit some of them, a few of these movies I haven't seen in a while, but I am pretty familiar with this franchise still. I'd say majority of them I've at least seen twice. Some of them I've seen more than a handful. I think there's maybe like 1 or 2 I've seen once, but either way, I'm super excited to get into this one. Honestly, I think my list could be the most diverse, or maybe diverse isn't the right word, but could be the most unique or controversial list out there, because as I said, I don't have a major attachment to this franchise other than specific films, but super excited to get into this one. As I said, 9 films to go through. I didn't want to make this intro too long, but let's get into it. Ranking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise from my least favorite to favorite, all 9 films. So getting into it, starting off at my number 9, my least favorite, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. For those who are unfamiliar, this is part 4 of the original franchise. It would probably come to no surprise for the majority of people who are familiar with this franchise that this is my least favorite. I honestly don't know anybody who genuinely likes this movie. I think like a lot of people have problems with it because of the cast and everything. Like, I know a lot of people hate on Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey for their performances in this movie and whatever. And before I get into that, on paper, this could technically probably be one of the most stacked casts in the TCM franchise. But either way, I don't find Renee Zellweger to be that bad in this movie. Like, she's nothing to write home about, but, she does the job. Matthew McConaughey, I think he knows he's not in the greatest movie, and this is one of his earlier roles, same with Renee. But he's just, like, giving it his all and, like, really throwing everything at the wall, and just it seems like he's having fun with it. So those 2 performances that I hear a lot of people complain about, that's fine with me. Another big complaint is Leatherface dressing up as a woman in this movie, as you can probably see there on the cover. Honestly, my problem isn't the fact that he dresses up as a woman. He could be wearing whatever in this movie. He could be having the exact same wardrobe as what he wears in the first original movie. He just does not feel like Leatherface in this movie. It feels like a totally different character. It just feels way out of place. And that's probably my biggest problem with this movie, besides the fact it's not a good movie. But yeah, Leatherface just feels way out of place. The family as well. This is one that just stands out for the wrong reason, honestly. So even though it's probably more memorable than a couple of the other ones coming up, it's just unfortunately memorable for the wrong reason. So number 9, TCM for The Next Generation. Coming in at number 8, I have the spin-off Leatherface, or I guess spin-off prequel, however you want to think about it. So this one is from following the point of view of when Leatherface and his family were kids. To be honest, I honestly don't remember this one too well, but I do remember it being better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation. There were some things going right in this one, I do remember that, and I think, again, people were giving it maybe unnecessary hate, but as I said, this is one that I don't remember too well. Though it's better than that, the last one. It's nothing that I have an attachment for either. So coming in at number 8, I have Leatherface. Coming in at my number 7, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, Leatherface. Again, like Leatherface, this one is one that is not too memorable for myself. I just happen to remember more things than I do with the Leatherface spin-off. And the things that I do remember, I remember enjoying a fair bit more. Just unfortunately, the rest of the movie is still a little bit blurry to me. Again, this isn't a fan favourite or anything. I know a lot of people are kind of more so leaning on the side of not enjoying this one. So far, not too many controversial takes, but coming in at my number 7 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. Getting into my number 6, and from here on out, it is getting a little bit more controversial, and I guess a little bit more suited to my opinion, but coming in at number 6, and I bet a lot of people are very surprised that this one's even this high and it's still on the bottom half. Here I have Texas Chainsaw, which was sort of the original reboot of the franchise, or rebooted sequel. This is pretty much Halloween 2018 before Halloween 2018, and in a way it's kind of Netflix's Texas Chainsaw before Netflix's Texas Chainsaw, if you know what I mean. This is a direct sequel to the original movie, and as I said, I honestly do not know anyone who genuinely likes this movie. Like, I think if you ask majority of people, they would probably put this one in their bottom 2. Again, it's not great, but I find it mildly entertaining, and there's some qualities in it that I honestly kind of do enjoy. Again, it's pretty vague in my head, but I honestly think this is one that gets, like, way too much hate, and I think I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times, and probably twice, and every time I watch it, I always go, okay, like, this is going to be the time where, like, I despise it and really hate it. But every time I do, I don't. And, don't get me wrong, it's not like I have this new love for it or appreciation for it every time I watch it, but, it's just not as hard to get through as what I always sort of expect it to be. Yes, it's still not maybe a great movie, but I think it does get too much hate. So number 6 goes to Texas Chainsaw. I believe from, like, 2013, something like that. Alright, coming in at my number 5, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. So this is the prequel to the remake. I think I was more so disappointed by this one. So obviously it's not a spoiler because it hasn't shown up on this list yet. I do really like the remake, and I like the remake a lot, honestly. So when I finally got around to checking out this one, I was just so excited for something very similar, cut from the same cloth. I'm like, I can't wait to see more of this story or this world, because it's a prequel, not a follow-up. And I just found myself to be a little bit disappointed by this one. Now, it's still better than all of the other ones that have appeared so far. I would say like a fair jump better, to be completely honest with you. But it just feels a lot more standard and tame, and honestly a little bit boring, especially comparing it again to the remake, which I was such a big fan of. Again, this is one that I have seen a handful of times, and each time it sort of passes the mark, but it's nothing that I want to write home about either. So coming in at my number 5, pretty much the middle mark, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, as I said, the prequel to the remake. Coming in at my number 4, now this is going to be very controversial because I know pretty much every man and their dog hated this movie. I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022, so the Netflix rebooted sequel. This one is a direct sequel to the first movie. Like I said, I do not know a single person who like genuinely loves this movie, and neither do I. I don't like love this movie, but I do really like it, and I think a lot of people probably would have placed this one in like their bottom 3 or 4. And like I said, not owning this movie put off me doing this ranking series for the longest time, but I found this bootleg, this greasy, I don't know why I described it as greasy, but this bootleg, and it looks fine and everything. But either way, not talking about the release, talking about the movie. Is the movie good? No, not really. Is it like a great way to reboot the original franchise? No, it feels pretty disconnected from the original franchise as well, the feel and the tone, and just things like that. It really is just trying to follow the success of what Halloween 2018 was doing by pretty much doing the same thing, even having Sally return and whatever. But fuck, this movie is at least entertaining, and that is like the main thing I get out of it. I don't care about the teens surviving or the story going on. I just want to see Leatherface walk around this abandoned ghost town and hack people up, and that's pretty much what we get. And this is the newest film in the franchise, and it's actually the first movie to give us a proper Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Massacre has always been the word missing in this franchise. That bus scene, it's cringy, it's stupid, but fuck, it is entertaining. This is the only reason this movie is this high. It is not that great, but fuck, it is entertaining, and it ranks that high just purely because of that. So coming in at my number 4, I have Texas Chainsaw Massacre from Netflix. I always think it has a different name, but the rebooted sequel from Netflix. Getting into my top 3 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies now, and again we have a pretty big jump in quality between my last pick and these top 3. Like I said, we had a jump in quality between, I'd probably say, my 6th pick, which was Texas Chainsaw, and then The Beginning. But these top 3 here are just easily a level above my number 4 pick, which was the Netflix TCM movie. These top 3 are honestly ones where I'm happy to say they are finally great movies, and it's unfortunate that we've gotten to the final 3 of 9 movies to say these ones are truly great and top contenders. But as I said, unfortunately the franchise is just a little bit inconsistent, but might as well get into it now. And continuing with the controversy, my number 3 is the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, a lot of people will be saying, why do you not like the movie that much then? I do like this movie. I like this movie a lot. Unfortunately, for this movie's sake, I guess unfortunately, not for me, I just enjoy another 2 in the franchise more than this one. This OG, there's so much to like about it. I just love the hot Texas sun feel. I love how this movie makes you feel gross and grimy and slimy, and honestly there's not even like that much blood or gore in it, but it just makes you feel gross. The chaos of this movie, not only story-wise, but I think a lot of people know Tobe Hooper, when he made this movie, kind of really didn't know what he was doing, but it was a perfect storm, and it just turned out to be one of the greats of the horror genre, honestly. There is a lot that I really do like about this movie. It's just as simple as there's 2 that I like more than this one. I do like the gritty, sort of realistic nature to an extent. I love the feel of the family, but yeah, it's going at my number 3. I know a lot of people this would have been a lock-in for number 1, but here I have the original TCM, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Moving on. My number 2 goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, so the sequel. Now, a lot of people are aware that TCM 1 and TCM 2 are almost like 2 different ends of the same cloth, as in one is grounded, gritty, dirty, somewhat realistic feeling, I guess, and then this one is more so a comedy, really, but I have a fucking blast every time I watch this movie, and it still has its scares, that scene in the radio station with Leatherface busting through the wall, crazy, the ending in, like, the fucking Catacombs Mountain, whatever you want to call it, just fucking wild. One of my favourite, like, openings when they're on the road and he's like wearing the guy's body as like a suit, and it's like, that is fucking awesome. Yes, it's a little bit more ridiculous and they're going a lot more out there, but I love how much more the family is involved with this one. You got Chop Top as well, super iconic. There's just a lot that I really like about this movie. It just has like this charm to it, probably just a little bit more rewatchability compared to the first movie, at least for myself. I know it's going to be controversial. I know a lot of people are like, I hate the balance between the first one being so, I don't know, the way to call it, like grounded, legit, and then it goes goofy with this one, but I just have a blast with this movie, and honestly, I don't mind the change between the 2. I can watch both of them back to back. It doesn't really affect me too much. So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 coming in at my number 2, and then there was one left, and if you've done the process of elimination and listened to what I was saying before, it should come as no surprise. Here I have the remake, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. So I said before I was a fan of the remake, but you probably weren't expecting this much. I I don't even know where to start with my love for this movie. I think it fucking rocks. Again, the original TCM is very gritty, feels very hot. You feel like you need to have a shower. This one, I feel like I need to fucking peel my skin off. It feels so fucking grimy. Like, it feels like I need to not just have a shower, I need to move into a new body. Like, it is so nasty, grimy, gross feeling. I love how... Don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people overestimate how much of a role Leatherface plays in the franchise overall. Yes, he's sort of the title figure, obviously. He had his own spin-off and whatever, and he is probably the main villain you're dealing with majority of the time. But I love how much, again, like TCM2, the family play into this one. Like, the scariest member of the family in this movie isn't even Leatherface for me. It's the, I don't want to get it wrong, but it's the dad who's pretending to be the sheriff or the cop. Spoilers for those who haven't seen it. Fucking terrifying. I love just how dark, gross it feels. Jessica Biel, I think a lot of people bring her up when it comes to this movie. Stunning, of course. There is just a lot I love about this movie. It's one of my all-time favourite remakes. When you're looking at the remakes to the iconic slashers, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, out of all of them, this is probably my favourite. I just have a great time every time I watch this movie. It's the one I rewatch the most. I adore the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Alright, so there we go, through my list, ranking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise from my least favourite to favourite, all 9 films that are attached to the franchise. As I said, I think another one is meant to come out pretty soon, so it might be outdated, but it's not going to be as outdated as when I ranked the VHS franchise. That shit was wild. Like, pretty much as soon as I posted that one, like 2 new movies were like announced, so whatever. But as usual, I'll do a quick little recap, rapid fire. My number 9 was Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 4, The Next Generation. I think it's just universally a not loved movie. It's pretty bad. The spin-off, Leatherface, came in at my number 8. Better, I think it's just more so a fact I don't remember that one too well. Not a lot really stuck with me. Number 7 goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. Again, just slightly more memorable than Leatherface, the spin-off, so whatever. Number 6 goes to Texas Chainsaw from 2013. Like I said, I think it gets overhated, but still also manages to not be that good of a movie, so it's a weird one. Number 5 goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning, so the remake's prequel. Number 4, as I said, this one would have absolutely rocked majority of people seeing it this high, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022, the Netflix rebooted sequel. It's not a good movie. I'm happy to admit that, but it is fucking entertaining, and I've always said that. I prefer a entertaining movie over a boring movie. At least it's not boring, you know. Sorry, I worded that wrong. A bad entertaining movie over a mediocre boring movie. Yeah. Coming in at my number 3 would have shocked a lot of people again, the original TCM. As I said, it is a major jump between my number 4 and number 3. Like, this movie I rank very, very high. And like I said, it's unfortunate that we've gotten to the final third of the franchise, and this is where they start to get good. But as I said, it's just an inconsistent franchise. Number 2 goes to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And my favourite, the remake. Yeah. Alright, thank you for joining me for this episode of my ranking series, or ranked series. Like I said, it's been a super long time since I last did a entry in this series, so let me know what franchise, or even like a catalogue of directors' films, if you want me to rank like a series of films or collection of films. Let me know in the comments below if you have your opinion on how you would rank the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Let me know in the comments below. I can guarantee a lot of people are going to have different lists to me, because as I said, you normally see I think a lot of people know this franchise isn't overly consistent, the ones who know it very well. But yeah, my picks are sort of all over the place. I think there's ones that get too much hate but also aren't great, or there's ones that, you know, aren't that good, but unfortunately there's ones that are worse, so it's like, it's a weird one. But thank you for joining me for today's video. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you for another video soon. Peace.